So let us read the purport and we'll explain more. Can one of you please read the purport?
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Yes, please read.
Activity in Krishna consciousness or acting for the benefit of Krishna without expectations is the highest transcendental quality of work. Even a small beginning of such activity finds no end. Can that small beginning be lost at any stage? Any work begun on the material plane has to be completed. Otherwise, the whole attempt becomes a failure. But any work begun in Krishna consciousness has permanent effect, even though not finished. The performer of such work is therefore not a lose even if he works not at a loss even if he works in Krishna consciousness is incomplete. 1% done in Krishna consciousness bears permanent result, so that next beginning is from the point of 2%, whereas in material activity, without 100% success, there is no profit.
Okay.
Ajamila
You can stop here. Thank you. Thank you for reading. Can you explain briefly what you read? Is there something that you understood from this?
For example, Mataji, like here in material world, every time we are born, we should start from
Your voice is getting cut. Okay, so I'll just talk. So activity in Krishna consciousness, Prabhupada says, or acting with for Krishna without any expectation of sense gratification is the highest transcendental quality of work. So all of us work, all of us do activities, and ultimately we want some sense enjoyment. We want to enjoy. That's why we watch a movie. That's why we eat something in particular. That's why we may get a little chatty, because there is some kind of enjoyment that we're looking for. Why? Because the soul is Satchitanand. The soul is always looking for happiness. That is the nature of the soul. But Prabhupada is very clearly saying that activity done in Krishna consciousness is the highest quality of work that can be done by anybody. And very interestingly, Prabhupada goes on to say what Krishna says is even a small beginning of such activity finds no impediment, nor can that small beginning be lost at any stage. So it's very interesting. If we know that we are going to lose our life, or any loved one of ours is going to lose their life, or if we are in this fear of death, one thing we have to understand is that if we have begun our Krishna consciousness, then our life is auspicious. It is Mangalam. So, because it is auspicious, later Krishna promises elsewhere in the Bhagavad Gita that Ananya Chintayastomam, we are expected to always think about Krishna. And when we are trying our best to follow Krishna consciousness and trying to think about Krishna, Krishna says, Sarva dharman parityaja mamekam sharanam vraja aham tvam sarva papebhyo. So he's telling that you start your Krishna consciousness, try your little best in Krishna consciousness. As you're trying to think about me more, Ananyas Chintayanto Mam Chinta, always think of me in your consciousness. When you're trying to do this, Krishna takes charge of our sinful reaction. And then he also promises in the Bhagavad Gita later that he will give us all the necessary facilities to continue our Krishna consciousness. And in case we don't continue, in case we are not in this world, or in case there is some reason where we are stopping our Krishna consciousness, still our life has become auspicious. Why? Because the next birth that we are going to take will definitely be of a devotee body and of higher consciousness. So that is the most dangerous type of fear. That after taking birth in this human life, which is very, very rare, after millions of births, we have attained this very, very precious human birth. After attaining this precious human birth, if we fall down in the next life, if we are not able to be a devotee in the next life, if we become 100% materialist in the next life, if we become degraded as an animal in the next life, then our situation is hopeless. But if we do a little swalpam avyasya, little advancement in Krishna consciousness, then at least our next birth is guaranteed to be of better, higher consciousness. So then Srila Prabhupada goes on to say that any material work begun on the material plane has to be completed. Let's take an example. A child has studied from 0 to 12th standard, has enrolled himself in college. First year, second year, third year, fourth year also the child has done. But somehow, fourth year final exams alone, the student is not able to attend. So, will he get the degree of whatever he was studying for? Say, he was studying for engineering. They won't give him the degree. They'll say, go back, pass your papers, and come back. We'll give you the degree. And with degrees itself, now people are not getting jobs or they're losing their existing jobs. So, imagine if he's not gotten a degree, will he be ever considered an engineer? No. What will everybody say? Go back, complete, and then come back and call yourself an engineer and come and join in our company. So that is a big problem. Somebody has invested 4 years and the final lag, maybe of 10 days, has not attended examination, but that person is not considered a complete in that particular course or whatever he has done. Whereas even a little Krishna consciousness has a permanent effect. So there's this very famous story, especially that we tell during the Damodar month. There was a lamp burning in a temple of the Lord, in Lord Krishna's temple, and the lamp was burning throughout the night. Most of the times, these lamps are kept on. In some of the temples, they are not even put off. So what happened was that there was a rat that was there inside the temple, inside the Garbha Gudi, where the Lord was there. And it so happened that this rat shook the wick of the lamp. And when it shook the wick of the lamp, the Lord is very merciful. He's always waiting. Will this Jiva at least once perform some devotional service? Will this Jiva do something for me? So he's very anxious to deliver us from this repeated cycle of birth and death that we are going on, this repeated suffering. The Lord is very anxious. So that Bhavagrahi, that very, very compassionate Lord, what did he do? He accepted that particular moving of the wick by the rat as the rat was showing a lamp. And it so happened that it was in the month of Kartik, so it was even better for the rat. So what happened? The Lord accepted it as many, many lamps. And in the next birth, actually, this rat attained liberation itself because it was in the month of Kartik. So that is the beauty of devotional service. It is a very, very powerful thing that we are doing. It is not an ordinary thing. Recently Rath Yatra happened. The world was seeing its power, the power of Lord Jagannath on the cart in every city, town, and village. Jagannath was out because of Srila Prabhupada. And of course, in Orissa, where Jagannath was sitting right on the cart and coming out. And that's why the British gave it the name Juggernaut, which means that it is unstoppable. So, this unstoppable Krishna, Jagannath, this force is very, very powerful, much more powerful than anything that we have ever seen. So that's why even a little effort in Krishna consciousness is not lost. For example, we are studying Bhagavad Gita. How much we will remember this verse after a few days is questionable. But the Lord is seeing our effort in us reading this verse and trying to assimilate the knowledge and get some realization out of it. Yeah. So 1% done in Krishna consciousness bears permanent results. Yeah. Can somebody else read from Ajamila performed? Can somebody read this, please?
Mataji's screen is not visible.
Yeah, just 1 second.
Can I read,
Yeah.
Mataji?
Yeah, can the other Mataji read? Because, yeah, okay. Whoever, please read.
Screen is not visible, Mataji.
It's not
Achanala
visible?
performed this.
No, visible.
Okay, please read.
Achanala performed his duty in some percentage of Krishna's consciousness, but the result he enjoyed at the end was 100% by the grace of the Lord. There is a nice verse in this connection in Srimad Bhagavatam 1.5.17.
They gave me this clip. Amma.
Sorry. No, can you go?
They gave me that clip.
Okay, okay. Sit down.
What is it?
Yeah, please read.
Mataji, should I read that verse?
Yes, if you can.
Can you help me out?
त्यक्त्वा स्वधर्मं चरणाम्बुजं हरेर भजान आपको अथा पटेत ततो यादि यात्र क्व व भाद्रम अभूद अमूस्य किम को वर्त आप्तो अभाजतम स्वधर्मतः. Yes.
If someone gives up his occupational duties and works in Krishna's consciousness and then falls down on account of not completing his work, what loss is there on his part? And what can one gain if one performs his material activities perfectly? Or as the Christian says, what profit a man if he gain the whole world yet suffer the loss of his eternal soul?
Right.
Mate-
Yes, please read.
Material activities and their results end with the body, but work in Krishna's consciousness carries a person again to Krishna's consciousness even after the loss of body. At least one is sure to have a chance in the next life of being born again as a human being, either in the family of a great cultured Brahmana or in a rich aristocratic family that will give one a further chance for elevation. That is the unique quality of work done in Krishna's consciousness.
Okay, very nice. So Srila Prabhupada is talking about Ajamila. I'm sure all of us know the story of Ajamila, but it is a very important story for us to always remember. As we all know, Ajamila was born in a Brahmana family. He was born to very pious parents. Yeah. So Ajamila was trained very nicely in deity worship, in chanting the Vedic mantras, in getting up early in the morning. Everything that Ajamila did was perfect. But material energy is very powerful. Maya Devi. She always tests us, right? So what happened was that when Ajamila, he went to the forest, unfortunately, he saw a man and a woman engaged with each other. And Ajamila's mind was agitated because he was contemplating on the sense objects. So what happens generally when we are in the outside world? We are going in our cars or vehicles or whatever, and there are boards everywhere. Everybody is trying to sell something and they are trying to agitate our minds. Like, recently I saw a board that a huge board. They just have a dosa being wrapped. They were showing the video of that in a very big screen, and then some ghee pouring on the dosa, and some lovely puri. Of course, it's not wrong to eat, but then the way they were showing it is to entice you so much that you really want, start feeling, no, that's what I need, right? So similarly, every day when we are in, with a phone or anything, people are always trying to sell their things. So that is Maya's very powerful way of doing things. Maya Devi is very powerful. So that's what happened to Ajamila also. And unfortunately, Ajamila became attracted to that lady. And she was not a lady of good character. She was a prostitute. She wanted to trap Ajamila. That was actually her intention. It didn't happen accidentally. And she achieved what she wanted. So she trapped Ajamila. And from being a very pious Brahmana, Ajamila suddenly lost his position, his spiritual position, and came in touch with this prostitute. Now, after having, this prostitute as his wife, he had 10 children. Now, we are not able to bring up one child itself. Imagine he had 10 children. And ultimately, life is all about survival of the fittest. So he had to survive. So then he started doing all kinds of things. It is described that he became a thief, he became a drunkard, he became a burglar. He would go into people's house and steal. He would go into people's shops and steal. Sometimes he would even kill animals, and he even became in certain cases a murderer. So he completely degraded himself. So he was the worst of people, who has to be definitely in the jail. Now this kind of Ajamila named his son Narayana, and because he named his son Narayana and called out Narayana when he was just going to leave his body, the Vishnu Dutas came and saved him. And what did they do? Did they immediately give him Krishna Prema? No, they didn't. But they gave him another chance. So Ajamila's story is the greatest example of us having a chance of success in our spiritual life. Luckily, Ajamila, because Krishna had mercy on him, remembered what all he did in his childhood. He remembered his beautiful sattvic life and he said, yes, I must go back to that. So then he went to the Himalayas. He practiced Krishna consciousness. He realized that, yes, I was doing all sorts of sinful activities. From now on, I'm going to become a devotee. So this is what Srila Prabhupada is talking, that even if there's a fall down, even by mistake, if we eat onion garlic, even by mistake, we don't do certain things as to what we are expected to do, there is no point of being morose. Like in the Nectar of Instruction, it is described that utsahat, nischayat, dhairyat. So we have to be enthusiastic also. So utsaha is very important. Yes, it's okay if I've committed a mistake, I will try to bounce back. So that is something that we have to think. Yeah. And I'd also like to share some more verses. I mean,
My secret was
uh, that's okay.
Huh?
Wait, Raja, please. I'm in the class. Okay.
But then I said sorry to her.
Okay.
You should okay. Huh? But I said sorry.
Okay then. Okay. So, yes, we understand that, okay, there is no loss in this. But then what should our attitude be? Srila Prabhupada is telling in a lecture. Can one of you read this for me, please?
Hare
So
Krishna Mataji.
suppose, yes, Hare Krishna. So suppose there is a fall down. What do we do? What is Srila Prabhupada that is why advising us? Can you just read this?
Yes, Mataji. So do it sincerely. Don't think that even if I fall, there is no loss. No, don't think like that. Why I shall fall? I have taken to Krishna's shelter. Why shall you give it up? This is my life.
So this is my life. So this is something that we have to repeat to ourselves. This is my life. Although I'm going to the office, although I'm in touch with so many people, although I'm making money, I'm always thinking about that, etc. Internally, we need to be convinced that this is my life and let me do it sincerely. So the sincerity is where everything lies. So Prabhupada said that if we sincerely and with faith do Krishna consciousness, it takes just a few minutes before we can go back to Krishna. So sincerity means do it to the best of our ability. Not that we fall back and say, Acha, theek hai, I have chanted so many rounds. I have done so much service. So I did all that at that time. Now I don't need to do. Maybe I can take it relaxed. No, we have to be sincere at every given position. At every minute, actually, we have a choice to do things sincerely. So whenever we feel very laid back, whenever we feel that we are not doing our bhakti properly, it is important to remind ourselves to be sincere and not give ourselves this option of falling down in Krishna consciousness. Why? Because Krishna himself says, Bhaktaha pranashyati. So he says in Bhagavad Gita 9.31, my dear Arjuna, you declare it that none of my devotees will ever be vanquished. I will give you protection. So Krishna himself is saying, just follow sincerely. Just this one birth, take up to Krishna consciousness nicely, and I will give you all protection. So if Krishna is protecting us directly, then Maya Devi also will stay away. She's not going to touch us. So sometimes we may get very scared that, Arey, so much is happening, will Krishna protect me or not? Krishna is giving this promise, so we can blindly follow his promise. And if there are any hiccups in between, if there are any problems in between, which will arise in each of our lives, it is just a test. All of us will get many tests to pass, and once we pass these tests, we become more and more attached to Krishna, and Krishna also starts getting more and more attached to us. So again, Prabhupada is saying that falling down from devotional service, he gets next chance. He gets, okay, so this is again, we're not going to that now. Take to Krishna consciousness means the way how you can please the Supreme Lord. But if by executing your so-called occupational duty of the body, if you do not take care of taking to Krishna consciousness or pleasing the Supreme Lord, then you have no gain. So again, here we are talking about taking up to Krishna consciousness versus material activity. So what is Krishna saying? Even a little thing if you do in spiritual life, you will not get affected. But material thing, even if you don't do, if you do a lot and you don't complete it, you're not getting benefited. So Srila Prabhupada gives this example that if there's a very big businessman, so this very big businessman is doing his business very nicely. He's taking care of his family very nicely. He's doing all his duties very nicely. But then this businessman, if he's not taking interest in Krishna consciousness, then is his life useful? No, because he's going towards the most dangerous type of fear. So that's what Prabhupada is saying, that if you are taking care of your body very nicely, but if you are not taking to Krishna consciousness by pleasing the Supreme Lord, then you have no gain. You are simply working for nothing, wasting your time. So this is very important. We have to understand that if we are not chanting our rounds properly, if we are not doing the necessary reading, if we are not listening to the amount of lectures we need to listen to, if we are not doing our sadhana properly, basically, and if we are not engaging our senses in Krishna's service as much as possible, then we are wasting our time. So it's important that we all ask ourselves these questions. Am I wasting my time? Am I doing the best of my ability? Am I just taking care of the body? Or am I trying to please Krishna? So this is very important. So again, Prabhupada is going on to say that if you do not awaken your attachment for hearing about Krishna Katha, which is our main business, then again we are at loss. Because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has said, Krishna Katha, yare deko tare ko hai Krishna Upades. So Mahaprabhu has given us instruction that, my dear devotee, take up Krishna consciousness. Mahaprabhu has given us the instruction that, my dear devotee, hear about Krishna, do the other 9 processes of devotional service. And only if we keep listening to Krishna Katha, we will get inspiration to tell others. So especially those who are following Mahaprabhu, we don't stop at just doing our sadhana. We have to go ahead and preach this message. And when we preach this message, that is when we are following the instructions of Mahaprabhu. And the secret lies here. When we try to engage others in Krishna consciousness, when we are preaching to people, that is when we are far away from Maya, because then Maya Devi knows that this person is extremely dear to Krishna, because Krishna says that in the Bhagavad Gita. So yes, there is a possibility of fall down. There is a possibility that, Maya may attack at any time. So for that, we have to be careful. And we have to realize that, yes, it's okay to fall down and we can get back to where we are. But that doesn't mean that we don't take our Krishna consciousness seriously. We have to become more and more sincere in our best given capacity, do our sadhana properly, engage our senses nicely, and ultimately, if this one life we can use in the service of Krishna, then we can 100% be freed from this most dangerous type of fear. And even if we have this fear that, okay, what if I don't complete my Krishna consciousness? What if I don't achieve my goals of being in Prema Bhakti? What if my loved ones leave? If we are trying to give them prasadam, if we are trying to give ourselves some Krishna consciousness, etc., etc., we know that they are going to get a better position, a better path, and thereby we save ourselves. So, if we like ourselves, we will take this process of Krishna consciousness very seriously. So, if there's anything that you all want to share, please share. You can go ahead and say something. We have 15 more minutes. Would any of you like to say something? Oh, we have Nitya Kishori Mataji here with us today. Nitya Kishori, would you like to add anything, Mataji?
Hare Krishna, Nanda. So
Hare
happy
Krishna.
to hear from you.
Same here. Thank you for joining. Is there something that you would like to add?
Mm,
Okay.
mm.
Any realization, anything, or you want to share something with us?
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Yes, Hare Krishna.
I have one question regarding that Ajamila. Like while taking like the device.
One second. One second. I'm sorry. Really? Okay, just give me 1 second. I'll come back to your question. If you all can just go ahead and sing this song, maybe Nitya Kishori Mataji can lead the song. I'm just coming.
Bajaho re mana Shri Nandanandana Abhayo Charanarandare Durlabhamana Janama Satsange Saroho Bhava Sindhare Nita Apato Bhata Bhavisana Idina Jamini Bhagire Kripale Sevino Kripana Durajana Kripale Sevino Kripana Durajana Chapala Sapala Bharamagiri Vedanayana Putra Parijana Ite ki ache parate tere Kamala dala jala jivana talamala Kamala dala jala jivana talamala Bajahur Hari Padani Tere
Bajahu Hari Padani Tire. Yeah, I'm just repeating. Please continue.
Shravana Kirtana Smarana Vandana Pada Sevana Dasya Re
Shravana Kirtana Smarana Vandana pada sevana dasya re.
Bhujana sakhe jana atmanivedana. Bhujana sakhe
Sakhe
jana
jana atmanivedana.
atmanivedana. Govinda dasa abhilasare.
Govinda
Govinda
dasa
dasa
bilasare. Bajahu re mana Shri Nanda Nandana Abhaya Charana Ravindare. Durlabha manava janama satsange tara hue bhava sindure. Thank you, Nitya Kishori Mataji.
Thank you.
So the translation, can you just read it also, the translation?
Yeah, sure. O mind, just worship the lotus feet of the son of Nanda, which make one fearless. Having obtained this rare human birth, cross over this ocean of worldly existence through the association of saintly persons. Both in the day and at night I remained sleepless, suffering the pains of the heat and cold, the wind and the rain. For a fraction of flickering happiness, I have uselessly served wicked and miserly men. What assurance of real happiness is there in all of one's wealth, youthfulness, sons, and family members? This life is tottering like a drop of water on a lotus petal. Therefore, you should always serve and worship the divine feet of Lord Hari. It is the desire and great longing of Govinda Dasa to engage himself in the 9 processes of bhakti, namely hearing the glories of Lord Hari and chanting those glories, constantly remembering him and offering prayers to him, serving the Lord's lotus feet, serving the Supreme Lord as a servant, worshipping him with flowers and incense, and so forth, serving him as a friend and completely offering the Lord one's very self.
Thank you. So we were talking, Lord Krishna was talking about fear, most dangerous type of fear. We were talking about each of us fears. So what is the solution? The solution is just worship the lotus feet of Nanda. Bhajahure mana. We are telling our mind, please worship the son of Nanda, which makes one fearless. So worship of Sri Hari makes us fearless. Having obtained this rare human birth, cross over this ocean. So we also discussed as how rare this human birth is. So we have to make full use of it. And very humbly, the author is saying that he is spending many nights and days, having so much of suffering in this material world, all for some little happiness, flickering happiness, which is not so permanent. So why are we doing this? I mean, that's a realization that we need to get. And apart from that, what assurance of real happiness? So we may be trying for real happiness in wealth, in so many things, family, having children, family members, but actually none of this is permanent. So it is very, very flickering, like a drop of water on top of a lotus petal. So instead of putting all our faith in this, not that we shouldn't do it, but if instead of depending on that, we rather depend on Lord Hari. And it should be our desire as devotees to always engage in the 9 processes of devotional service. This is a very powerful process. This process of bhakti is the highest of all yogas. And when we engage in these processes, then we are actually helping ourselves and coming out of the cycle of birth and death. Yes, I think Komal, you are asking me a question. Please ask. You're asking a question?
Hare Krishna Mataji. Yes,
Yes.
Mataji.
Yes.
Actually, someone asked me once, like, when Jamila was dying, he had kid. So he was calling his kid name, like his son name, that is Narayana. And then Yamduta came and he got revived. So, like I have like someone questions me like he gave up his responsibility and went to see the self, went to realize the real truth. So, what is this mean? Like he gave up his responsibility and went. Is it good?
What do you think?
I feel it is good only. Everything is not permanent. But
See,
it's a
basically, in Ajamila's case, he was old.
hmm,
He was on his deathbed. He would have anyway died.
hmm,
So it was very much correct of him to have left the place, and at least he got a chance to go back and do some bhakti. Apart
hmm,
from that, even according to Vedic dharma, after 50 itself, people are not expected to stay at home. They take up varnashram and they go and they concentrate on the Lord.
hmm.
So that's why we were discussing. Prabhupada also was quoting that what is actual dharma? Actual dharma is following Krishna consciousness. What is actual duty? That is following Krishna consciousness. And if
Yes.
we are doing anything else and everything else and not doing this, then we are in trouble. Then we are not doing our actual duty, because the Lord provides the sun, the Lord provides the air that we breathe, the Lord provides the water that we drink, the Lord provides the family members that we have, the Lord provides everything that we have. And how can we not follow Krishna consciousness, which is the most important dharma? So in Ajamila's case, it was 100% justified. And in
Like
anybody's also.
yes, yes. Like as we can understand this, but when we hear the Ajamila story, they will say like he was having the kid at the age of 85, like that.
Yeah, so anyway, he will die. How will he do his duty?
Hmm.
It so happened that because Krishna was merciful, he allowed him to live for some more time.
Okay,
We are talking about somebody who was on his deathbed.
okay,
So
okay.
even for somebody who's thinking like that, it is not logical to expect an 85-year-old man to take care of his son.
Yes,
He's in a position that we have to take care of him.
yes. Okay, Madhuji. Thank you.
Thank
And today's
you.
session was very good and
Thank you. All glories to
interactive.
Prabhupada.
Thank you so much, Madhuji.
Thank you. All right. Thank you. If there's anything that you want to ask or add, you can tell. Otherwise, we'll stop now.
Mataji,
Yes.
Mataji, this is Mageshwari.
Yes.
In the starting, you were telling about that decision anxiety and what should we do about. I told you about the fear, right? So
Yes.
I just
Yes.
want to hear it again from you once again.
See, I think we are very lucky as devotees, because when we have to make decisions and we're not able to make the decisions, we go to senior people, we consult with them. Guru, Sadhu, Shastra. These are the three things that we can take reference for. So we can ask our spiritual master, we can ask a senior devotee, we can see what is best for our Krishna consciousness, and then accordingly take a decision. Say, suppose we are taking a decision and that decision may affect us even chanting 16 rounds. I need to take up this position, but I know for sure I can't take up my spiritual life properly, or I can't take care of my daughter properly. Then we stay away from that decision, whatever. So that is one way of making a decision, going to Guru, Sadhu, Shastra, and making sure that our Krishna consciousness and our other duties are taken care of well. And what I was saying is that, psychologically, if people are having a lot of problems in making decisions, one thing we can do is that, yes, once we are confirming to a great extent from the others, from seniors, from devotees, that all right, this is probably the best decision, we should take the decision and go ahead and somehow make it the right decision. Even if the decision was not a very right decision, we can make it a right decision. So suppose my decision was to open a prasadam shop. And I spoke to many people and they said, yes, it's a good thing. Devotees also said it's a good thing, etc. Rather than be in decision paralysis, I go ahead and, start the shop. But the shop is not doing well. Then I'm thinking, oh, I made the wrong decision. I should not have done it. That time itself, my mind told me. So that is one way of doing it. Another way of thinking is, all right, now I took the decision. It is my responsibility to make this work. So I try my best to make that wrong decision also the right decision. So I may struggle much more, but then I come back to a place, okay, maybe I need to change my menu. Maybe I need to change the way I speak to my customers. Maybe I have to change the way I present the food. Maybe I have to change the location. Something I need to do to make that wrong decision also right for me. So that is something that I understood for people who are in decision paralysis. But as devotees, it's easier for us because we try and trust ourselves and somebody senior. Okay, fine, this is the direction we are going. Everything will happen well. Is that okay, Mataji? Sir, I'm understood.
Nageshwari. Thank you, Mother. Yes, I understand.
Welcome. All right, then I'll take your leave. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, ma'am.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Dandavat pranam.
Dandavat.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Nanda.
Thank you.